2 years.
Well, story time with the 1926 1020 McCormick Daring. I was watching some videos on YouTube and I'm like, man, I need to get my tractor out and just take it for a little rip around the yard. So you can see we did a couple of laps around the yard, but while I had it all, I was just blowing it out and getting the dust off it. But I figured I wanted to pull this clutch cover off and make sure, just blow it out, make sure it was still clean. But I figured while I had it on, I'd give you a little story time on this. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but when I got this tractor, it had the original pull type clutch in it. And I think there's 3 or 4 discs. And they were just completely destroyed. The input shaft that goes in the clutch, the splines were destroyed. I mean, everything was a mess. So the block on this tractor was junk. Believe it or not, this is the better of the two, the one I had to fix to get this thing to run. But when I got this block, I think this come out of a Farmall regular, maybe, or maybe a later 1020, I'm not sure. But it had a little bit different flywheel, so I ended up using that flywheel. And this is, instead of a pull type clutch, this is a push type clutch out of a, I don't know, 80s vintage Chevy pickup, small block Chevy. And I made these little round discs. Basically, I just held the pressure plate up to the flywheel and got it centered up and marked these holes and drilled and tapped them, because you can see the flywheel has a step here before it gets to the disc. So I made spacers that were the same thickness as the step in the flywheel. The disc matches up perfectly with that step. So basically I bolted that clutch on there. Well, then I had to make a new input shaft, and I welded some stuff together in it. I don't know if you can see it back in there. It bolts to the front of the transmission. The input shaft on the transmission has a bolt pattern. I don't remember. I think there's like a gear in there, and then there's a collar or like a plate that goes around it to hold it in. So then I had to make up a that push tube, see it right there, that goes between the original clutch fork and then, let's see if I can get the camera down in there. There's the throwout bearing. It's pressed onto that, and then the input shaft goes between it. It works quite well. You know, the only thing is it drags a little bit. I think if that clutch disc was kind of rust jacked a little bit. This was kind of an experiment, so I wasn't really into buying a bunch of new parts. If maybe you can get a little better idea. Okay, so there's that collar that pushes on the release bearing, and then the original release fork bolts onto that collar with them 2 bolts. So there's that drive back in there. So we did some rigging, that's for sure, but it works really well. The clutch kind of drags a little bit, but you have to, as long as you got the pulley engaged, you just put your foot up against it and it comes to a stop, and then you can shift it. But I guess that's the price you pay. You're working on a 100-year-old tractor. I don't do nothing with it except drive around the yard once or twice a year. But this is the first time it's been out in 2 years. I make sure I go out in the barn and roll it over once in a while. I figure while I got it out here, I'm going to blow the dirt off of it. The girls are playing wiffle ball. And I got a cleat on here that's loose. I'm going to cut them bolts off of there and put some new bolts in it while I got it out here. So that's it for today. Just having a little bit of fun. I'll have to get my book out. The original tag was gone, but I salvaged the serial number was on the original block. Let me see if I can find that. It wasn't very easy to read either. Let me see here. Let's see, did I write it down on one of these? I know I wrote it down on one of these books. I guess I don't remember exactly where. I got it written down somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. I'll get back to you. Alright, we're back. Let me see here if I can zoom you in. I found the serial number. It's a KC201409. That was kind of hard. There you go. 201409. So that puts that tractor in 1926. But this is a reproduction service manual for that. This kind of shows the clutch parts a little bit better. So here, this is the spline piece that goes in the front of the transmission, and then it's got this bolted coupler. So I made a new shaft that goes from that flat spline all the way through into the new clutch. And let me see if I can get here. This is that multi-disc pull type clutch. Kind of gives you a little better idea of what I was talking about there. See how it drives off of these pins here, and these holes here. Well, them were completely destroyed in every one of my clutch discs. I mean, there was no saving them. I suppose you could have made new ones, but I looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find no replacements or good used ones. I mean, this was like the first iteration, I guess I would say, of this style clutch. I get a kick out of these old guys in their work uniforms. But anyway, that's the story with the clutch. Right now it's usable. I drive around the yard, it works good, it disengages, I can shift it. will I ever get back into it and maybe make it a little better? I could get in there and maybe do a little better job at it. You can take that all apart. You just got to take the belt pulley off the housing, and then you can unbolt that shaft and pull that clutch right out of there. So it's not a big job. Hour or so you could have that clutch out of there. But I think for right now she's working good. Right, girls?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you guys later. Evelyn, babe, wave bye. Bye. Alright, well, I stand corrected. I found another note. The new block was KC201409, and that was from a 1932. So it's probably McCormick Deering 1020, I'm assuming. The original block was a KC52494, and that one was a 1926. I just don't want to give you guys a bunch of wrong information. Not that it really matters, but anyway, we'll talk to you guys later.